Howdy, folks. Keep your paints thin on your minis. Son, never sniff that glue. Turn on the YouTube, cause we got a show for you. They got GW Fire in England to keep them pockets a jangling. They charge too much and now they been, so we got a show for you. They got GW Fire in England to keep them pockets a jangling. What? They charge too much and now they been, so we got a show for you. Now, how am I hearing myself? Sorry, folks, we're having some technical difficulties. Lawrence had left me hanging here. I believe I gotta go back over here and mute this up somewhere. There we go. Good Lord. All right, folks. Enough of the carefully planned stuff that me and Lawrence had done. He done left me hanging and put the wrong time down that we was going to start this show. And I had to come in here on a helicopter and land in that daggum front yard and come in here to do this dang show completely unprepared. You know, all my notes, everything just gone. You think that's going to faze me? It ain't. So first of all, I just want to welcome y'all to the Lawrence Jameson Show. And it looks like a number of factors have contributed to a low view count here. But we're going to drive on ahead of it and all, because I know there's going to be lots of folks come in after and want to watch it as a saved video and all. So the first thing is this. I get a lot of dang cards and letters and phone calls from people all over the world. And they say, Lawrence James, and this and that. What are you going to do? It's a cowboy. It's a cowboy. It's a redneck. It's a redneck reviewer. First of all, my name ain't Lawrence Jameson. And anybody that can is when paying any kind of attention to some of the videos I've been putting out will maybe know that my name ain't Lawrence Jameson. So that's going to bring me to the very first contest that we're having. And it's going to be a giveaway. I'm going to give away a lot of stuff on these here shows. And I plan on having one every daggone Thursday afternoon. Well, it's the afternoon over here in Atlanta, because we coming to you live via satellite from Atlanta, GA. And that's what we call Georgia over here in the States. Now, the first thing we're going to do to give away is this. I appreciate some people that stuck with me all the way through and done help me out. And y'all right now watching is some of the earliest ones. Now, I want to give away this right here. And this, a long time back, there was a dang game that Games Workshop put out. And if you don't know already, that's what this whole show is about. Games Workshop's games. Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar in particular, and their peripheral games. Well, they had one of them dang peripheral games called Space Hulk. And it had an offshoot called this here, Deathwing. Okay? And this is just an expansion game. It had a lot more daggum tiles and all and such, and it introduced the librarians and stuff like that. And really, to tell you the truth, you know, I kind of had heard, but before I got this box here, back in about 1991, 90, somewhere around there. Before I got this here box here, I thought librarians was them women that worked in the book sections of the library. The library, I done got spanked a couple of times in my dang high school by librarians for not bringing books back and whatnot. But anyway, this was all about librarians and the psychics, and they introduced, things like that. So what am I going to do? I got a whole mess of figures, miniatures, minis, from all these daggum games, man. And, a lot of them's done sat the bench for many a year. And I can't work them into no army list. And, they just sit in the bench. So I figured, Lawrence is coming up with a show that I'm going to host. And they're gonna be all kind of giveaways, and they done got in cahoots with the dang terrain manufacturers and things of that sort. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna give away 2 miniatures out of that box set from Deathwing. A dang Flamer Terminator. All right, I know these. Please excuse these. Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. Please excuse these. These bad images, because we're having I had to jump through a bunch of hoops. Like I said, I come in on a helicopter. All I had the time was to grab a laptop off of somebody and bring it in here. And there's a lot of fancy computer stuff that I don't know about that I need the production managers in Lawrence and all them people here to do. So sharing screenshots and all that kind of stuff, man, I would have done just took pictures of these. But here you go. You got a daggum Terminator Marine from 1990. And you got a dang a Gene Stealer from that same box. All right. Still in the gray. All right. They done sat the bench for many a year. And all you got to do, and I'll ship them anywhere in the world. I will send them anywhere. International, bloody old England, even. All you got to do for this contest by the end of this dang video, you got to just put on this chat here, what is my name? What is my name, and how does it, for extra cookies, how does it relate? Where did I get that name? So first one to come, and don't even try to say Rumpelstiltskin or some such like that, getting funny. I'm supposed to be the funny one. So it ain't Rumpelstiltskin. I'll give you that. So figure that out and put it in the chat here. And if ain't nobody get it, whoever puts it in the dang permanent comments down below in the descriptions. Now, also in the descriptions, I ain't had a chance to add the dang contacts for the email and all such that you could email to claim your dang prizes and things like that. That will be in there at the end of this video. So that's about all I got to say on the intro. And if none of y'all watched none of the videos before, the Lawrence Jameson Show is just a hobby tutorial channel, and I done got roped into doing a whole mess of them by him, because I fool a lot with this daggone Warhammer. And I know this is a lot of boxes, and it looks like I got a lot, I went out and bought all these boxes. No, I got a lot of connections of folks that fool with Warhammer. And I've been in Warhammer a long, long time. I've been fooling with it since some fella wrote a cheese list and with a bunch of Marines with daggum distortion cannons and power fields or some sort, and all of them had dang vortex grenades they throwed on me in the first round. So that was my introduction to daggum Warhammer, and I'm still here. I should have run for the hills then. But anyway, I've been doing it a long time down since the Rogue Trader days, and I've done it in all sorts of locations and with all sorts of things. And I got several different armies that y'all gonna be seeing during these shows. I got a pretty big Imperial Loyalist Space Marine chapter of my own doings. This actually Ultramarines successor chapter called the Hospitalers. Anyway, y'all gonna get to see them later on. And then I got a large Chaos Force that used to be a Black Legion, but I'm breaking it off more nowadays to be a daggum World Eaters. Everything that I'm getting new, and I'm also converting some other stuff over from my Black Legion miniatures to make a World Eaters army. So that's what direction I'm going in the Chaos. I just got the new Chaos book. I haven't got the new Space Marine book yet, but I will be picking that one up. I'm going to talk mostly about Warhammer 40,000 during this first one, of course, because Warhammer just come out. The 40K, the new 8th edition, just come out about, a couple months ago, and everybody's been playing it up. And I'm going to hit on the dang Age of Sigmar and stuff. But I was really hoping I was going to be able to share some screen shares and things like that, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it without causing technical glitches that might shut the whole thing down. So The first thing I'm going to talk about is something that's been affecting me lately, and that's power level versus points, and which ones of them you should use. Now, to me, when Games Workshop come down the pipe with Age of Sigmar a couple years ago, they kind of dumbed down the points thing. Of course, they didn't have no dang points for a while at all. And then they took and put out a general handbook with points. And then every single one, Blades of Corn and the new Stormcast Eternals and whatnot, they had the points already in the book like that. But I believe it was a simplification of a point system that Warhammer, of course, has been known for, especially Warhammer 40K, which a lot of people are saying, all right, they broke up the fantasy battle game and turned it into round bases and turned it into Warhammer 40K. And then they turned around and turned the 40K into the dang thing they did. Anyway, you figured it out. But anyway, about the points. They kind of had a simplified version of the points up in Age of Sigmar. And that's kind of what they've done with these power levels. They want everybody to get into it, these hobbies and playing this game without having to be a dang math genius. I can't hardly add 2 and 2. But I can make a dang list, a cheese list. But anyway, they don't want people to have to add up every minute thing but they also realize they got people that want to do that, that are into that minute detail of the stuff, but that might turn some of the newer people off. So the power level idea that they had, that they're putting on, is actually a good thing. And what that does is get people into it, without having to add up a bunch of things. They look at it, it's right there on the dang I want to say War Scroll. It's right there on the data sheet, and it tells 8 points for this guy. Leaders are around 8 and 9 points. And then a dang regular Marine is around that point. Specialty guys. 5-man squad might be 6. You start adding specialty weapons like into Devastator squads and stuff, and that's also where it gets nasty too. It's where you start adding the extra stuff. And in the very beginning, PowerPoints really was all right for everybody. And because everybody was new to it and ain't had a chance to really dig down into it and find the loopholes. Which, there's a reason that the dang AOS handbook is 4 pages long. And there's a reason that the 40K rulebook is 8 pages long. It's because they had dang they distilled it down to the very lawyer speak, and they ain't wasting no words at all. And so they everything's got to be simple and direct like that. And in the beginning, ain't nobody found them loopholes because they're pretty good with them lawyer words and setting it all up. That's why it's down to 4 pages. Anyway, in the beginning it was good, but then people found the loopholes. And I'm not talking about you and your buddies or you trying to teach your daggum wife or your girlfriend how to play this game or nothing of the such. I'm talking about gunslinging. Going down there with your box, a shoebox full of daggum minis, and busting in them doors and taking on anybody in there, whether you know them or not. And if you don't know them, it's all the better, because then you won't have no feelings about crushing them underfoot and putting them to the sword and all. But if you're a gunslinger and go in there, you got to realize that people's looking for them loopholes, and they have found them by now. And they have gotten cheese lists. And I'm gonna hang on, y'all. I gotta dang. Some people was blowing me up on a telephone call, and I gotta receive it. Sorry about that, y'all. All my chickens got out, and somebody gonna have to go get them. Ain't gonna be me, all right? Not now. But anyway, let's get back to the dang power level versus points. Right about now, all them dang gunslingers have found the loopholes. And you do not want to play power levels. Now, I know you say, okay, you're on a level footing. You can cheese your list out just as bad as they can. But it ain't, you know, some, and depending on the scenario and the PowerPoints levels you're playing, it can get imbalanced, man. And no matter how much you're trying to cheese it, just by the other guy's list. Case in point, I went and played that last Conor mission down there at the game at the GW store just this past Sunday. And it was a setup to where Chaos had to attack Imperium. That's fine. There wasn't no cover on the field. That's fine. You know, I was pretty much, needed to bring a whole bunch of vehicles in order to be able to, win the scenario. You know, but the other fella, all he took was Devastator squads, maxed out. You know, and he was Raven Wing keyword and all kind of dang stacked up buff, man, where it was just completely unfair of all PowerPoints. And, you know, he had me, man, not 2-1, but he had a significant advantage in power level over me. I mean, in points over me. We had the same power level, 50. And that was a problem as well. Because I'm believing that the lower you go on the power level, the more chance there is that you can skew it, that you can cheat it too much and too far. If you got a lot larger power level, you're going 100 points, 200. Nah, that's too much. You're gonna play all day. In the 100 power level range, there's enough targets out there that some of them super squads and vehicles and whatnot, they got, so many targets, they ain't gonna overwhelm you in 1 or 2 turns if they have a big significant advantage in you, over you in points, even though you might have down. If you play them lower power levels, like 50, 35 and all, man, you really need to ban like heavy weapon squads, vehicles themselves, anything that has a whole bunch of options. The more options they have, the more it can be skewed. Now, I know GW has done said that they took like an average of whatnot of all of what like a heavy weapon squad could get. But you get some specialist heavy weapon squads and things that you ain't paying the points for. And you can really skew it one way or the other too much in one more favor. So I say you should play power level when you're teaching people the game, when you're trying to get new people into it, especially. It should be power level. You shouldn't be having to be adding up. Oh, this fella has a melter gun that's this much, and this one has a laser gun. This one, yeah, they should know. By the end of that first game, hey, this laser cannon. And I'm sorry, y'all. That's the way I say it down here in these neck of the woods. I know all around the world and everywhere else is done called las cannon. But we'll get into all that. We could get into all that later. But anyway, let's just say some heavy things like a dang grav cannons and such and whatnot. That's very expensive. That them people ain't paying for in them squads. It just can get overwhelming if you play too low. But bigger ones. But if you're going to gunsling, if you're going to go down to them dang stores, them gaming halls, and turn up down there, as they say, and play just about anybody, you really need to play on points. And I'm going to tell you this too. Once you've been playing power level and nothing but, and I mean, I've been in leagues right now where I'm in a league in the game store and it's a power level league. It's cutthroat. Bad. Anyway, I'm saying if you're going gunsling, you need to run PowerPoint points. And once you start breaking down your force that you done been running on power levels and see just how expensive it is, you're gonna start dropping hunter killer missiles and things of such, and all them drones and all that you had. You're gonna start dropping that off. because you just ain't gonna be able to afford it on, like, let's say 1,200 point lists and such like that. Like I said, if you ain't never played points and you've been playing power level, just add up them maxed out squads that you've been playing with. Add the points of it just for giggles, and you're gonna see how expensive that is. So it's gonna continue to be a raging argument for a while, because I done seen it on the internet and people attacking each other like politics or whatnot over this thing, points versus power level. They defending it both ways. So that's my take on it. You know, if you have a take yourself on it, leave it in the comments, whatnot. Like I said, we just now getting up off the ground, just now getting into flight. And later on, you know, we're going to be able to revisit certain topics and such that's really hot in the Warhammer world. Now, there is some folks out there saying, you know, that they, Clarence Singley is agreeing with me, of course, that it's Lay's cannon and this and that. And I guess I'll touch on it real quick in case you ain't seen a video from before where I explain how I just come up with that or whatever. But the fella that taught me Warhammer said it that way. So I reckon, you know, that's where I first got started at saying it. And then, you know, it just logically, when I started hearing when I was exposed to a bunch of other folks saying it the other way, Laz cannon, I started thinking to myself, you know, laser. If you got a laser, it ain't a laser, you know, it's a laser. You know, you got a cannon, you got a laser cannon, Lay's cannon. Not where they come up with Laz, I reckon, is all about pronunciation, like laboratory and things of that nature over across a pond, you know. And if they say it's Laz cannon, well, by gum, it's Laz cannon. Okay, but I'm gonna slip up and say Lay's cannon. So now, speaking of daggum Clarence Singley, he's the feller that won the paint holder stand. And like I said, we ain't got nothing here but write our this laptop here. But as soon as we get off of this here video, we're gonna be going on to the emails and getting your address and all, and getting that sent out from you. Now, once again, these are you can't buy this on daggum eBay. I don't know if you could. If you could, you're gonna pay a pretty penny, and you're gonna get it free, and I'll ship it anywhere in the world. All you gotta do is say my name in that chat. You know, and it ain't Andrew Arrowwood. That's another sucker that works on this dadgum show that ain't here now, like Lawrence. You know, and other folks that, you know, it all come down to what they set the timer at. You know, they set the timer too late, and then I had to scramble and whatnot. It's all going to get better, I'm sure. Now, that brings me to my next point. And if y'all ain't figured by now, I can talk until the cows come home. That's why Lawrence got me doing this. And then I talk to the cows, you know, after they come home. But, man, I can't fire nobody, Clarence. That's the whole thing. I ain't Lawrence. I ain't Lawrence Jameson. Lawrence Jameson is the producer of this show. You know, he's present on a couple of them early videos. But other than that, that sucker has been on vacation in New York City, in places, you know, that I wouldn't. But no, I'm not gonna say that. I visited, and I've actually lived in a lot of places. I lived over in Germany for 5 years, and so I like Germans pretty much a lot. So and I got dang kinfolk living in Germany right now. So anyway, let's go on to the next thing. And as you can see behind me, there is a lot of boxes. And like I said, I got a few connections of folks that's done you know, donated a few boxes and things in there. But what I want to talk about is these fellas that's looming over top of me. It's the Primaris Space Marines. Now I wish to you that I had one to pull up here and show you, and maybe even crush between my hands. But I don't have one because I give everyone that I had away. And, you know, I'm sure I'm going to come across some of them You know, I know some fellas around here that play for pink slips, we might call it. You know what I'm saying? If you lose a game, you gotta donate a mini, unpainted or whatnot, to the daggum opponent that you lost to. So it's kind of like a little version of marbles or whatnot. So I'm gonna come across me a Primaris. I'm gonna be able to show you. But anyway, I think everybody by now knows what Primaris looks like and what they're all about. But why did they bring Primaris out? What's the purpose of them? Besides, it's a bigger Marine. Oh, these go up to 11. What's the purpose of them? Well, of course, it's to sell models. Everybody knows that, but it's a little deeper than that. You got to go back to this here game here. Age of Sigmar. The one that saved Games Workshop. The savior of Games Workshop. And you got to look here on this cover here. Of these fellas here. And this here. And to understand about Primaris and about the entire direction of Games Workshop. And I'm on that note, I'm gonna fuse all the topics that I had left to go all into one, because they do all relate. There's a reason they call these Sigmarines, okay? Because that's what they are, the Space Marine version in this game here. There's a reason for it, and everybody knows that fools with daggum Games Workshop knows that Marines is what sells the most. You know, that's what they sell the most models of, and that's what they make the most money of. So they figured, well, there wasn't no Marines in this game, so we need to put some in. I'm kidding. I'm going to get to the why they changed all that too when I start talking about the lawsuit. But what they did do was they give you some daggum Marines to go in here, because they're your most popular thing. Now, it is about money, because like I said, it is about selling models, but it is a lot deeper. It's about protecting themselves. They couldn't go and ditch Space Marines when they were going to come out with 8th edition. They couldn't ditch them like they ditched the whole old world and all of the fluff that went along with Warhammer Fantasy Battle. They couldn't do it because Space Marines is their cash cow. So they had to sit around in a big old meeting with daggum Jervis Johnson and all them fellers and figure how they was going to get rid of the Marines, but still keep them. And they couldn't get rid of them. They had to improve on them. How they going to improve them? They going to make them bigger. Well, everybody's been clamoring for something that folks are talking about called true scale Marines. Now, in my mind, Marines was just fine like they were. But it is true that not only in the Marines line has the models done got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I saw it myself, but it was like watching a child grow. It was so slight each time. The thing with these Primaris is a big jump to get them to where they want equal to, because man, even though Space Marines is their number one thing, they has put out a lot of other races and things like that since they crunk up Warhammer 40,000 and all. And when they put out the newer models, these models are increasing in size, man, and complexity. Because when you can put more details on these models and then computerize how they're going to chop them up and manufacture them, they just getting bigger, man. They getting bigger. Everything went to 32 millimeter bases and all. It may have, Andy. It may have, and we're gonna see right now. Well, it's fairly hot because we don't run no AC around here, and it is about 92 with a humidity of, you know, look up Atlanta. So, but when you look up Atlanta, you'll see that Coca-Cola is from Atlanta. They make this stuff here. It's dirt cheap. They dang practically give it away. They have banned Pepsi Cola within a 100-mile radius of Atlanta. The Atlanta Coca-Cola Museum is down there. Dang near every Coke you get is from Atlanta. Got the gene seed, just like, you know, this is the daggone Primark of Coca-Cola here. You know, all the other Coca-Colas, all in China and wherever else. You know, and I just happen to be so lucky to live in Atlanta. Now, I'm going to get back to dang Primaris here for a second because it just weighs so heavy on my mind. Just almost constantly. I hardly can exist because of this Primaris thing. But let me finish on. So, they're going to try to figure out how they're going to improve Space Marines. Well, they wanted to crank them up and make them bigger, so they did. And then you got to ask yourself, well, why the huge change over? Well, it was because Age of Sigmar was a success. And then you got to keep backing up and say, why did they kill off the old world? Because they wasn't selling enough models? That's what they want you to think. Because the numbers add up for them and all that. Oh, the sales was down. It's a very complicated game. They done beat that into you to where that's what you think. It was the real reason. That ain't the real reason. Don't you think that this lawsuit and maybe other ones that's coming has been a brewing for a very long time against Games Workshop? Now, I said this saved Games Workshop because this has put Games Workshop where it is now. I'm talking about Age of Sigmar. Because, Games Workshop was coming off a daggone IP agreement and all that they had linked up for Lord of the Rings and all. And once all them Lord of the Rings and a Hobbit and all that stuff was done, you know, and their contracts was running out, Games Workshop was going down. And y'all know it. Everybody knows it. They was going down like a Titanic. And they got them a dang new CEO and brought them new leadership in there. And they brought it back people like Jervis Johnson and people like that, and to get a fresh look and an eye at what was going on, not only in their own game, but was other games around like War Machine and such, Malifaux and such. They start taking a look at the successes of them. And man, I'm going to tell you this, unchecked, except for this right here, War Machine would have put Games Workshop down. But instead, they have come back and crushed for the moment everything in their wake, like a juggernaut with this right here. Why do you think they done that? Why do you think there ain't orcs on the face of this here? Yeah, they. Why do you think they started changing all them names even way back? Orcs, elves, all that such. Why do you think they started changing them way back? It's because they anticipated these lawsuits, or they already had seen them coming, or their own lawyers was telling them, man, we got to move away from what could be construed as other people's intellectual properties and ideas. Now, what's going to help them a little bit is they was in cahoots with Tolkien and his whole mythos, which is what they're going to be accused of stealing a large portion of their things like orcs, elves, you know, halflings and such like that. But this lawsuit, in case y'all don't know, they're being sued for $62 million, which don't seem like a lot to, it won't seem like a lot to them, but it could be a tip of an iceberg. Because now, I think they'll beat these intellectual properties things because they have been proactive. And now they've moved on to these things that there's their pure creation. Them dang Stormcasters and the whole story about dang Sigmar and the whole shebang about the realms and all this is their creation, as well as chaos. Why do you think? You got some other races on the side, but you got a steady diet of Sigmarines and chaos. Sigmarines, chaos. People complaining all over the internet, of course. That's why, because they had to move. emphasize on their own intellectual properties, so that in case these lawsuits are coming down, they can say, well, look, we're doing this. We ain't, we don't even call them orcs no more. We call them auruchs. They ain't even called elves. We done that way back here. They're doing the same dang thing here. Before y'all ever even heard of the lawsuit, they had done talked about Astro Militarium, and they had done talked about heretic Astartes and things of that such. They was already changing it up. Even in Warhammer 40K, the lexicon of it, in anticipation of being attacked. Why do you think the dang box set was Marines versus Marines, and Marines of a chaos force of Nurgle, which is their own creation? It's all on purpose. They at this point right now, and like I said, 62 million ain't nothing, man. They could come out right now and just settle with the fella for nothing. You see these box sets behind me? That ain't nothing. There's people that they done sold a lot of these. And it wasn't just to me, is what I'm saying. They done sold a lot. So they're making a lot of money. They're going to settle out of court. Now they're going to beat these intellectual properties charges or whatnot against them. They're going to beat it. But what they might not beat is these devilish business practices that they have perpetrated on not only dang regular old hobby stores, but their own GW stores here in the States. And, we got a thing here in the States, and everywhere, called supply and demand. Hang on, there's some people here at my dang house. We got a thing called supply and demand. And that's what regulates our markets. And that's why they have made laws against what's called monopolies. Because if you only got one company only doing one thing and everybody wants it, that dang company can start charging the moon for all their stuff. And if you got something good, it's worth something. And if it's real good, it's worth a lot. Like a Games Workshop stuff. It is worth a lot. But when you have a demand for it and you're able to give a supply, and you're the only one that can do it, and you're going to sue the pants off of whoever yourself if anybody tries to butt in, it's bad business practices. And in case some of y'all don't understand what exactly what I'm talking about, GW is intentionally manipulating the market here in America. I reckon is mostly what I done heard about it. They're manipulating the market to keep the prices of this stuff real high. And I wish I could show you some screenshots, because if you don't believe that it's getting a little bit out of hand, then you ain't paying attention, because they're price creeping even now. Even now, go look at the new prices. Hey, gummit, I wish I would screen share these things. You can go over to the GW website right now and look at the new releases of the such and such they got over there. There's something like 3 of those models on the stand for $85. They done gone. It ain't the things that used to be just recently $55 is going to $85. They are creeping everything up, and because of the anticipation of getting smacked by lawsuits and such, don't know, but I believe they can beat the intellectual property stuff. But as far as these bad business practices that they have been using on these stores, and I'm going to tell y'all a little story about something recent. There was a daggum game that just come out, a peripheral game that was a throwback kind of to what called Necromunda. It was called Shadow War Armageddon. And the only reason I have a copy was I happened to turn up. I turned up at a reputable gaming hall at the very moment that they had got their shipment from GW, and it was laying on the table all stacked up. It was 8 boxes. And I'm pretty good partners with the folks in that dang game store. And one of them said, hey, there's a feller that done dropped out. Excuse me, y'all. There's a feller that done dropped out of this here Shadow War Armageddon pre-order. And do you want to get in on it right now? And they done had a box busted open with all that pretty terrain and a masses of plastic that terrain was made of. And I bid, of course, on it, not even knowing that people were selling their children on the internet to get this daggone box. Shadow War Armageddon. Well, anyway, I got my box. I got it hooked up in a league down there at the gaming store, and started in on for a couple of weeks, not knowing another. And then I turned up at another local gaming hall, a little smaller one that didn't have as much pull with GW, I reckon. And I turned up in there, and I started acquiring about there. There's some bugs that's got in my eyes. Lord have mercy. I started acquiring about their league for Shadow War Armageddon because I was assuming that every game store around was running a league, because I had been in there before, and they said a league is coming up, but I wasn't interested. And like I said, I bought it as a spur of the moment impulse buy and not knowing about it, so I bought it. I hope not, Clarence. But anyway, and I'm a GW supporter. I'm just giving y'all alternate things, man. I hope they beat y'all these lawsuits and things. But I'm telling you this story of how bad underhanded they were to this little game store. Now, this is a game store that's got 7 tables, whatnot. It's out of business now, so I can say something. It's one of them ones where you go in there, you get an odor, but it's one of them good ones. Anyway, I come in there acquiring about his Shadow War Armageddon League. And man, he got the look on his face like he just dog died. He said, we didn't have no Shadow War Armageddon League. And I said, why not? He said, well, Games Workshop canceled my order. And I said, well, you gonna get it? They just delayed it, right? And he said, no. They canceled a 10-box order from him. And he said, yeah, I had to cancel the daggum league. I had to give everybody their money back that had done pre-order. These was pre-orders that they had already received all the money for. And with no warning at all, when other game stores got their shipment, a whole bunch of them, and it just wasn't that one little game store that I'm speaking of. It was a whole bunch of them didn't get theirs. And it wasn't delayed. It was just daggum canceled. Now, there was a fair amount of gap to where they got the dang rule books and whatnots. And that ain't how you want to start new players into the game. I'm hoping that they have seen the generated interest in this here Necromunda, one that they're just fixing now to put out very soon. I hope that they have seen the interest, and they're not going to do that again. Because what does it take to make another 1,000, 2,000 more boxes at the prices that they're pay to have these made? And man, I mean, I'm not on anybody's side, like the lawyers or the people that's trying to get against GW at that, but they throwed up some numbers talking about exactly how much it costs to produce one of these. And they throwed up some numbers how much it costs to get on the ground, let's say a $60 box set, or even $100 and something box set like this, on the ground in a warehouse in the USA or in England or wherever they're going to sell it, how much it actually costs them. And it's really, really, really low. And then if they're getting them that dang low, they need to meet the demands. And I like I said, my little story about a few dang gamers crying because they didn't get to be in their swag league. You know, that ain't a real tearjerker. But I'm gonna tell you what, it happened all over, and a whole lot of people tear jerked over it. But you know something, man, this is a good game. It's the best game because it's the best war game because of its variety and its deep lore. Y'all all know this. The daggum lore on 40K alone. Forget Sigmar and even the old world, which was pretty good lore. It was great lore. The lore from 40K, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, Horus, heresy, and things of the such, and the creation of the empire and the Great Crusades and all them daggum books, them great Black Library books that Dan Abnett and such has put out, and all them authors. Man, they have created a lore that is deeper than Star Wars. I'm going to tell you that right now, man. It's deeper than, way deeper than Tolkien ever had a lore, you know? And they've branched it off so far, even before they started doing what they're doing now, which is advancing the story, which is what everyone wanted, advancing the story. So they're trying to do things, like I said, I'm going to wrap up all these topics here right shortly. They are trying to do these things in preparation for people trying to come at them on lawsuits, changing all them names, going in their own different direction, which is completely focused on Space Marines and chaos things, which is their own original IPs, their own original ideas that other folks can't get a sniff at, you know, and is also going to form armor for them in lawsuits. Look here, look what we are doing. We don't, you know, yeah, we got Oryx and this and that, but you know, remember we had a partnership with this and that. We're not even calling them orcs, and they don't have anything to do with the Goblin King and none of the daggone Mordor mountains or Misty this and you know the caves of whatnot and Murky Mountain. You know, they don't have nothing to do with that no more. You know, they done moved all on it, and then they created a complete new mythos that's based on a high fantasy, you know, and basically they inserted a feller, Sigmar, on a golden throne. Does that sound familiar? To the Emperor on his throne. You know, the Emperor don't fight in these battles. They don't got a model for him, a miniature for the Emperor. Hell, oh my goodness, I'm gonna wash my mouth out with soap. I don't anyway. The daggum Emperor. I'm so frightened now from saying that cuss word that I done lost my train. My train's, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get destroyed. What I'm trying to say is this: they didn't put, you know, the Emperor on his, you know, his golden throne. Now you got another one that's not in the game, that they don't make a miniature for, that's a godlike powers or whatever. That his main mission is what? Is it fighting against the orcs? No. Is it fighting against the elves? You know, no. It's not even fighting against dragons and such. Their main missions and what they're pushing even right now for the Emperor himself and his Imperium and all his minions, the Space Marines, the Sisters of Battle. Bring us some plastic kit, please, please. But anyway, the Sisters, the daggum Inquisitions, all of them. What their main mission is against chaos. What's the new books about? 13th Black Crusade, Abaddon, them. It's all about chaos. That's who the Emperor's focusing on. Who is Sigmar focused on right now? The daggum Fire Slayer, the Caladran overlords? No, man. Not saying they ain't a great race or whatnot, but dude, it's about chaos. They got a god figure in their own mythos in both of these games, and their main focus is to fight against something that is of their own creation, intellectual property wise, and that is chaos. Everything else is peripheral. The orcs, the elves, the space elves, they're in there for flavor. And hell, I believe, oh, I can't get spanked. I believe Games Workshop created Necrons. You know, now they might not created all the thing because you even know Necrons got that Egyptian feel to them. You know it. And Games Workshop and everybody has borrowed from ideas. You can't help but borrow from ideas. You know, that's how we as humans advance, actually. If every single thing had to be a brand new idea with no relation to anything that come before it, we wouldn't have never even got very far as a race. What separates us as humans from these daggum animals is one thing. Besides the Lord Almighty, the one thing is that we can pass on information to our descendants and build on it. And our descendants are coming up with new ideas, yes. But descendants are building on the ideas that they've been taught. Now, if you ever read J.R.R. Tolkien, how he portrays the elves and the wood elves and high elves and whatnot through the Sigmarillion and all the daggum, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books and whatnot, how he portrays them elves and all. How closely related are the daggum witch cult pits of Camorra and Slaaneshi devoted Eldar? How close are them related to the wood elves? But you know something? That's where they come from. And you would be a liar and a fool if you denied that. I'm talking about the company. I ain't trying to call none of y'all no name anyway. But what I'm saying is, if you denied it, you just ain't seeing what is real. So anyway, I'm gonna get off all that because, of course, I don't never going to get down the road near no politics or that. I just want y'all to understand, I am on GW side. I've been a GW fan for so long. They done got so much money from me, man. I supported them in the good times and the bad. I took breaks from here and there for a couple of years in the dang mid-2000s, but never for long. Never for long. And I'm glad to see them successful like they are right now. And if you don't think they're successful right now, you ain't looking at it, because it's the whole reason I'm fooling with Lawrence and all them are doing this show. Now we're gonna get close to wrapping this up because it's the first show. Like I said, we had a ton of technical difficulties from the dadgum rip row, and I can't even do the screen shares off of here. We ain't got the right microphones. We ain't got the right cameras. I'm done with excuses because, of course, y'all know the maximum range of an excuse is 0 meters. So, no excuses. Next week, the show will be a lot better, a lot more structured about all the giveaways and such. Now, we was going to give away these daggum hills that I have here. I have a set of 4 hills from Sick Creations, and their link's going to be in the description as well. It is a terrain and hobby accessory manufacturer that happens to be local around here in Atlanta that I'm fooling with and doing some giveaways for them to try, and they're trying to help me. I'm trying to help him out. I ain't making no money. Of course, I'm losing money sending these, but these would be only for the United States. Now, I was going to have a little contest on here to give these away, but I still got 2 miniatures here that can be sent anywhere in the world. I'll send them to dadgum Timbuktu. But you're going to have to tell me what my name is, the host of the Lawrence Jameson Show. I need my name. It's real simple. I mean, there ain't but a very handful of you viewing right now live. So your chances of winning is high. But they're pretty low if you ain't seen no other ones of my videos. So all I need, and if nobody gets it by the end of the show, which is coming up very soon, I hear a daggum helicopter right now. That's the one come to pick me up, to take me back to doing what I was doing before I had to run down here to cover Lawrence. So, whoever can tell me what my name is going to get these shipped to. And on show number 2, because I know that all y'all that's watching live right now, every dadgum one of you is going to tell your friends. And I really appreciate it. So that the next show, next Thursday night, is going to be a little bit later. I'm going to let everybody know a lot more in the text, because I didn't even have a dadgum link to get up in here until the very last moment. So I'm going to have it a lot more organized for the next week and be able to screen share. And I'm going to end the show today with a screen share. I'm going to attempt it, because we got, the credits and all that kind of need to be, shown and put out there or whatnot. So I'm going to make an attempt here in a little bit to put up the credits and then do a little outro tune for you. So if you jumped on late here to this daggum show, go back and watch the beginnings. Like I said, this is just the very first show to try to get everything off the ground. And I've jumped through a few hoops to come in here and tried to get her off the ground. So, all right. Put my name down in the permanent comments, because ain't nobody won it in the chat yet. And my name ain't Lawrence Jameson. And my name ain't Andrew Arrowwood. My name ain't, I ain't telling you what it is. It ain't Rumpelstiltskin, sorry. So, you got to say what my name is. Real simple. My name, get you these. I promise you I'm going to send them anywhere in the daggone world. And you really, I don't know if you're going to buy them on eBay. So, down in the permanent comments, do this. I'm going to try to make an attempt now. Now, if it shuts off, I'm hoping to see y'all and some other ones next week. And I'll be giving out the time. It's going to be similar to what the time was now. I know it's getting a daggum late over in England. It's probably what is it, pushing 10 o'clock over there, I believe. Anyway, it's pretty early. I don't know, but the time's going to be a little bit later. We had this thing scheduled for a little bit later. So, be a little bit later in your bedtime over in England. So, I'm going to give it a rip now and try to do this thing screen share over here. Let me see real quick. I'm going to try to put it down. Try to put it down there and bring up what I need to show y'all. And I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen. Alrighty then, hang on y'all. Oh my goodness. There is a lot of daggone fancy computering that some other ones is going to have to do, I believe, before I'm going to have to be able to do it. Now, folks, I can't bring it up here. Hang on one second. I'll try to bring it up. Is that it right there? Now, I don't know if y'all are seeing it or not. Maybe you're seeing it. I don't know. But if not, I thank everybody. Thank y'all for coming. The handful of you. And y'all are always going to be able to say to y'all's grandkids that y'all was some of the first ones that see the very first Lawrence Jameson live show. The very first Lawrence Jameson Warhammer show. I'm not supposed to say that by a dang contract and stuff. The Warhammer show. So, if you got any comments, please don't direct them against anybody else in a chat or, bad comments or whatnot. You can say whatever about me. You don't like my hat or whatnot, or I need more dogs on the show, whatnot. Put it down there in the comments. And as soon as I get off of here right now, I'm gonna hook up them dang links in the bottom of the description right down here. Now look at here. I'm gonna see y'all next week. Yeah, I appreciate y'all stopping in, and I do appreciate, of course, everybody that's going to fixing to see this video when it gets saved. If it gets saved, we're going to have to go through that whole daggone process here very shortly. So, y'all take it easy and be safe. I'm going to see y'all later. Bye now.